Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? And welcome to the latest edition of Drew Mania Live. So nice to have you with us for this Friday, the 4th day of September, the year 2020. And of course, this is yours truly, Joel Perry. Oh, yes, indeed, as always, coming to you live and at you from the busy streets, which is New York City, as I chat to you what is happening in the world of sports. We have a lot to so many to discuss, from the U.S. Open to NHL to the NBA, MLB. But I'm going to start talking about Steve Nash. The news I got yesterday from the NBA is that Steve Nash, who has no coaching experience whatsoever, has never been an assistant coach, have never sit with the great coaches in the NBA, has become a head coach, has get his first coaching job as for the Brooklyn Nets. And I know it's not much, it's quarter left field. I thought when I first got this news, I thought Steve Nash was going to come back to play. That's what I thought. I was like, cool. He's coming back to play, and it'll be great. But little did I know, he was coming back to become a head coach. And the way I view it, to me, and the more I think, now, when I was listening to Sirius XM, I listened to a woman named Linda Cohen, who's a long-time anchor for SportsCenter. She was filling in for Christopher Mad Dog for Mad Dog only. She was filling in for Christopher Mad Dog Show, and she didn't like what Stephen A. Smith said. That when Stephen A. said is basically white privilege, because Steve Nash. They gave Steve Nash the head coaching job with no coaching experience. Now, mind you, there's so many African American coaches that have been coaching for a long time who never get that opportunity. And to some degree, no, not to some degree, he's right. Stephen A. Smith is 100% correct. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there's so many head coaching jobs that could have gone to an African American coach. Byron Scott, Mark Jackson, Tyrone Lue, Mike Brown, so far, and the list goes on and on, etc. The whole point is, you give it to a guy who has no coaching experience. Oh, you could bring in Jacques Vaughn, who was the head coach of the Nets previously, who filled in for Kenny Atkinson. You could have given him a second job, because he did not do a terrible job. You just ran into a Raptors team that was flat out better. That's not his fault. You can't fault him for that. But the point is, you hire Steve Nash, who has no coaching experience, head coaching experience. He's never been behind the bench. He never learned how to be a head coach. Now, if he becomes a great head coach someday, that'd be great. But that's not the point. The point is, there's so many black head coach who's been a head coach before, who have been in behind the scenes for have been there for so long. Let me give you a perfect example. Mike Woodson, who was the last coach that took the Knicks to the playoffs. He never coached again. Why is that? You know? He's been a head coach before, and because he never got that head coaching experience, for some god reason, isn't that white privilege? Now, as far as what Linda Cohen said, and it doesn't really matter if she likes it or not, if she don't like the comment or not. But it brings me to this. You, Linda, the fact that you said that tells me, I don't know, you just basically showed your ass. What I mean by that? Because half of you radio hosts who's been on national radio, WFAN, ESPN radio, you name it. How do you think you got that job by blood, sweat, and tears? No. Half of y'all got this job because of white privilege. White people need to stop acting like... This is the thing that really started to annoy me about this. And I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna close this topic. I'm gonna close this topic. Some of y'all got this job because of white privilege. It's not because of hard work. It's not because you're talented. Because America, as you learn more and more, love mediocrity. They love it. They would take a white mediocrity over a black man who's more talented and more qualified. America has always been run like that. So don't sit here and get mad and be like, oh, I don't like what things they say. No one asks you what you like, Linda. And because of that, she turned me off. And from this point forward, I don't ever want to see Linda Cohen again. Or want to hear her voice again. But anyway, enough with that. Let's move on to baseball. Let's move on to baseball for a second. As the Mets hit. Listen, the Mets could do whatever the hell they want. The Mets could win 5 or 6 games. The Mets are, I don't know, as we know it, 3 or 4 games under 500. The Mets from this point forward is going to be chasing 500 because if you watch the Mets Sunday and this past week, or this season, should I say, the Mets do everything what losing team does. They blew a 7-2 lead. And when you have a 7-2 lead, you have to win that game. I don't care if it's the Yankees, I don't care if it's the Nationals, I don't care if it's the Marlins. When you have a big lead like that, you better close it out. And the Mets didn't do that. One sloppy defense after another, and it happened in the bottom of the 10th against the Yankees. And the Yankees end up sweeping. And then game 2, you got destroyed by a pitcher I don't have on top of my head, but I don't remember on top of my head on Sunday. But the moral of the story, you got swept by the Yankees, and you blown a lead. You blown a lead that you should have won. We seen this last year, and we seen it again. And it comes to a point, enough is enough. And insult to injury. You traded whoever you traded to get Todd Frazier. Now listen, don't get me wrong. Todd Frazier was a big help for the Mets success last year. Big help for the Mets getting to 500, whatever the case, getting to 500 and playing for the wild card spot. But if y'all wanted Todd Frazier, all you had to do was resign him. That's all you had to do. Why go through all this nonsense? It's ridiculous. No, seriously, it's ridiculous. Why go through all that? You did all this to get Todd Frazier? How about resign him? The Mets has always been a dumpster fire. The Mets is so damn clueless, it's not even funny. The Mets, every year the Mets give you an opportunity Mets always tease you to tell you they're going to be a more competitive team, and when you and by actually playing the game, they never get better. Never. The starting pitching has been the strength of that team. It's been a disaster. It really has. And the offense is awful. Their defense has been awful. Because I guarantee you, going back to this past Sunday against the Yankees in Game 1, if they would have played much better defense, that they should have won this game. The Mets didn't lose that game on Sunday. Which is really, really annoying. On a sad note, the franchise, Tom Seaver passed away at the age of 35. A Hall of Famer, a legendary figure for the Mets. And if you want to know about the Mets, you look to Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver, the great pitcher, Hall of Fame pitcher, who pitched a long time, and always been known as a Met. Is a fortunate he didn't finish his career with the Mets, or even drafted by the Mets. But when you think of Tom Seaver, you think of the 1960, the way he pitched, that upset against the Baltimore Orioles in the 1969 World Series. It's really, 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 really always have a place in Mets land, as the Miracle Mets win the World Series in 1969. Todd Frazier's, I keep saying, Tom Seaver, died at the age of 75. Our condolences goes out to him and his family, and you will really be missed, because he is the franchise. He is the Met. He is the New York Mets. Well, as far as baseball, the baseball season is really getting interesting. Really not. It's really, the Cubs, the Dodgers, is running away with that division as usual. The Giants is playing much better baseball. The A's always play good in the regular season. Let's see if it translates to the postseason. The Nationals in the last place, which is shocking. The Atlanta Braves is still holding on to that division. But the Rays are a scary team. Especially on the new nemesis for the Yankees. And real quickly on the U.S. Open, as we go into day 5 of the U.S. Open. As you listen to me for a long time, you know how much of a big U.S. Open. I love the U.S. Open. Every time when you think of the U.S. Open, you think of it's the end of summer and back to school, but it's going to be a lot different because of COVID. And with that, that's going to do it for this edition of Drew Mania Live. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to this episode again, please go to Spreaker.com, type the keyword Andrew L. Perry. Once again, go to Spreaker.com, type the keyword Andrew L. Perry. And please subscribe and like my videos on YouTube. Type in Andrew L. Perry. Once again, Andrew L. Perry on YouTube. And always follow my show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and iHeartRadio, and wherever you listen to your podcast. Until next time, this is Andrew Perry. Always say to you, shalom, let peace go with you, and I'll talk to you in the next Drew Mania Live. So long, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend.